Hello, in this video I will focus on how to build a hyperfarm. In Game of Thrones Winter is Coming, every player that wishes to grow and fight without always being in need of resources that he doesn't have needs to build hyperfarms, especially with Glorious Battle now. Hypers are called the accounts that someone has only for producing resources for his main account. An account that is built focusing on producing specific resources can really produce quite big amounts of the resource each day. This helps a lot to not need to gather, as first of all it's boring and it's also dangerous, as you cannot protect the troops farming with a bubble and stuff, and in period of war you can't actually farm. Having hypers for every resource someone needs helps a lot to store resources and always have enough when needed, for big researches, for healing troops or training troops. Especially for fighters, this is a must in order to be able to fight properly. Although building and carrying for a new account seems extra consuming for some players, in the end it proves out to be less time consuming and stressful, because it replaces effectively the time that is wasted on gathering resources. This way you will be able to enjoy the game and focus on more important things in the game without caring to log in, send gatherers out again and again when they are back, and be stressful about how many resources you have today, if you reached your target to do the research or to heal your troops and stuff like that. In order to be successful in hyper farming, you need to focus your farm in producing only one main resource from grain, wood, stone, iron, and also gold. Focusing only on the production of one resource will provide high amount of it, and every hyperfarm can produce gold in tandem of that. So now let's focus on actually how to build a hyper. First you have to make a new account, it doesn't even require a real mail in order to do that, and grow the new account up to castle level 3. Then move the new account to the kingdom that you want to have it, as castles less than level 5 can transfer to the kingdom of their choice for free. Afterwards, just focus on the castle level and try to get it to minimum level 20 up to level 25, depending on how soon you want to start producing. If you start focusing on the resource buildings in smaller castle level, it means that you will focus earlier on the resource production, but you will grow slower up to your end goal of the hyper. To grow the hyper faster, you need to focus on the higher castle level first. By having a high castle level, your power is increased, therefore your nobility rank is higher and you will have free speed up time that you can use to speed up a resource building development. Also, as you will finish buildings and grow the castle for this, your lord level will increase and you will have more talents to increase the construction and research speed, and also the production speed of the resource you want. After reaching the desired castle level, start building the resource producing buildings you want in your city. In your city you have in total 17 spots for normal resources and 16 spots for means or hospitals. There are 5 spots in the right. In these spots you should have 4 buildings of the resource you desire, plus 1 farmland in order to be able to grow your means. All the rest of the normal resource buildings should be exactly the same, depending on the resource that you focus on. In this particular account I have it focused on stone production, so every resource building are quarries. On the other spots make full 16 means. So in total you need 16 means, 1 farm and 16 buildings of the resource that you want to focus on producing. Depending on what is your main need, you can focus first on gold or the other resource. As the difference from level 24 to 25 is not very important on means, as we can see here, it's only 375 more gold per hour as a base. But in other resources, the difference from level 24 to 25 almost doubles the resource produced. You have to stop growing the mints on level 24 at first until you finish the other resource buildings on up to level 25. You can get resources from your main accounts or other hypers if you need to grow the buildings and for the researches that you need to do. Always have one building at high level to be built while you are offline for a longer period of time, for example when you are sleeping, when you are working, or when you don't intend to log in the hyper for a couple of days. When you are online and you want to focus on growing the buildings, grow the lower level buildings one by one, meaning that you grow everything one level from 16 to 17, from 17 to 18 and goes on, and do it for all buildings at the same time. If you pass the level 20 in all buildings, then you will see a good difference in the resources your hyper produces, but especially when you reach level 25 you will see a very big boost. You also need to put attention on developing the quality of your commanders. A lot of commanders give buffs on the production of some resources. For example, Russell gives a 100% increase on stone production when he is gold. Focus on the commanders that give the buff of the resource you want to focus on producing, and also on Rob, Face and Soren that give a boost on gold production. Also at first increase Rob, Chris and Arya a bit to be able to proceed in the next levels of Werewood Elite to unlock the commanders that you need. Here we can see a table with the buffs and resources each commander gives, with only free-to-play commanders taken into account, as of course we want to build hyperfarms that are free to play. On researches, focus mainly on the first three, the production one. Focus on the construction speed at first, the building mastery, and then when you finish that, focus on the resource production that you want. Here we can see the quarry mastery, logging mastery, iron mastery and farming mastery. Depending on what resource you want to produce, try to max it up to level 9 that you can do before you do your master to level 25. There are also some more researches that can be useful, increasing gold production and resources capacity, as we can see for example here. These researches can be useful, but only after you finish the first three ones. In this table we can see the total percentage boost that we can achieve in the production of each resource. As a resource hyper probably we won't get to master level 25, the minting researches are limited to level 8 and the production resources are limited to level 9. In addition, VIP 10 is the optimum level to be considered in most hypers, as it is unlikely a hyper will advance more. This particular hyper was an alt account until it is turned into a hyper, and that's why you can see that I have a VIP 12. Also consider that there is no gear in these percentages, so using master gears for example you can increase the gold percentage slightly further. When your hyper starts producing decent amount of resources, do not forget to empty it of the resource it produces, sending them to the bank or wherever you want twice a day. If the storage is full, it stops producing the resources, so you should always be able to empty it before the storage capacity is reached. Instead of logging all the hypers one by one, you can also attack them via your main account to get the resources that way, but you will lose 30% like this. However, it saves a lot of time, so I am doing it like that and just need to spend like 2 minutes per time you do it to collect all the resources I want. In the following table we can see the maximum production and capacity of each hyper based on the limitations I explained before. We can see the maximum bonuses, the buildings you must have, the maximum production per day and the maximum storage. You can of course advance it a bit more with awakenings, more researches and still, but it will be a lot more work for a small amount of more resources, so I think this is the max amount that worth it. You can also of course stop before these amounts and it will still be quite good for your resource productions. Most of my hypers, like 90%, are not even close to these max amounts, and still they produce a crazy amount of resources daily for me. Thank you a lot for watching the video. A link to a written guide for building hypers is given in the description of the video.